and I unabashedly believe in the exemptions for health of the mother, rape and incest. And those are between, you can go to different churches, different places, it's just where it falls, and that's where I'm at. I'm flat to it. I've been married 44 years. I'll take the life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one. I mean, it's over that end, and so that's it. It's just a personal end of it.
I can't believe I just heard that. A fetus that is not going to be a good one? Holy crap! But there again, it is Ogden Driskill. There's plenty to unpack in the recent debate that he and Chip Neiman had. We've got lots to do. Come on, let's go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to another spectacular installment from very high above all the insipid and puerile forms of Wyoming mainstream media. This is Cowboy State Politics. I, of course, am your illustrious host, David Iverson, firmly ensconced behind the silver Cowboy State Politics microphone, and broadcasting to you from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics Studio in Sheridan, Wyoming. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the program. Happy Monday, 8 days until the primary election. I'm sure I don't have to tell any of you this, but things are about to get pretty deep. When politicians get desperate, you never know what they're going to do or say. And sometimes, maybe I'm really showing my age here, but do you remember those old books by Art Linkletter called Kids Say the Darndest Things? Well, at this point in any election, politicians say the dumbest things. And more often than not, it's really inadvertently. And when it comes to the recent debate between Chip Neiman and Ol Augie, I'm pretty sure that I'm the only one that caught something that Ogden said. Now, there was a whole bunch of other stuff that Ogden said that should make any Republican run screaming away from his campground at Devil's Tower. Some of that I'll play for you, but really, the only one that you need to listen to is when he was talking about abortion. Sitting here, recording this, it actually makes me kind of sick to my stomach. And if you live in Crook County, Weston County, or over in Gillette and Campbell County, you absolutely need to listen to this. Because how we treat the most defenseless of our society is exactly how we're going to treat other people. But before we do any of that, some exciting news. For the second year in a row, Cowboy State Politics is on the list of the top 100 conservative podcasts in the entire country. Did you hear that, Wyoming Redcoat Media? In the entire country. Some of the other names that you may have heard of that are on that list: Dan Bongino, The Charlie Kirk Show, Ted Cruz, Megyn Kelly, though I'm really not a fan of hers, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Andrew Clavin, The Glenn Beck Program, Mark Levin, Allie Beth Stuckey, Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, The Steve Deace Show, Sean Hannity, and at number 69, Cowboy State Politics.
That's great! That's what I'm gonna say!
Now, this is the point in the report where I would give you some sort of statement about this momentous achievement. But I think I'll just say thank you and point out that it is not the cow pie, because they're not conservative, and it's not the Wyoming turkey vulture for the same reason. It's just little old me. Oh, and I think I might add, hey, cow pie, put that in your red coat pipe and smoke it. Okay, my friends, enough about me. Let's talk about Augie. Last week, Ogden Driskill and Chip Neiman attended a debate that was put on by the Weston County Republican Party. As usual, Ogden's mouth was in overdrive, but the most important thing that he said came when they were talking about abortion. Now, I'm pretty sure, though I can't be 100% certain, of course, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that caught it, because what he said was a little bit under his breath. I already played it for you at the very beginning of this episode, but let's just talk about this for a minute. How many debates about abortion has Ogden Driskill been in? How many pro-life bills have come up on the floor of the Senate while Ogden Driskill has been in office? Now, I don't know for sure, but I think a safe bet is at least 20. And every time, it's a really long, drawn-out discussion. Because you have a whole bunch of people that really aren't pro-life, but are trying really hard to make it seem like they are. But anyway, you debate something like that so many times, and you get pretty comfortable with it. And being a politician, you know that what you say is going to be picked apart, and so it's really important not to misspeak, especially on a topic that is so volatile like abortion. On this topic, unless you're a real dummy, and I'm not exactly ruling that out when it comes to Ogden, but unless you're really off your game, you're not going to say something that can be taken in any way other than exactly how you meant it. Now, if you pay attention to the live program, when Agent 29 and I are talking about something that is really sensitive, he uses a lot of really long pauses. And the reason for that is he's being very careful about the words that he chooses. Because he knows that if he says one wrong thing, it's going to end up on the front page of every redcoat news site that is in existence. The same holds true for anybody that's been in office for any length of time, including Ogden Driskill. So first, let me play for you the big, important soundbite. It was in the middle of a larger discussion about abortion, which I'll also play for you. But let's start with that one. He was talking about exceptions to an abortion ban. Listen to this.
I've been married 44 years. I'll take the life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one. I mean, it's over that end. And so that's it. This is just a personal end of it.
A good one? Oh my God, my friends. What does that even mean? A fetus that is not a good one. Now, some of you may think that I'm nitpicking this one a little bit, but let me explain why I'm not.
This is Brent Bien. Restoring public trust in government is essential to the future of our great state. To earn public trust, we must conduct statewide budgetary audits and end the use of non-disclosure agreements that only protect the insiders and big corporations. We must remove all restrictions on public information requests and ensure the public comment periods are recognized and adhered to. The rightful place of the people is to be in charge of their public officials. Vote for me, Brent Bien, on August 18th for governor, and let's restore trust in government. Paid for by Brent Bien for governor.
Today's program is brought to you by Cowboy State Trailers. In Wyoming, we haul around a lot of stuff, and most of it you need a trailer for. Whether it's a utility trailer for your four-wheeler, a gooseneck, or a dump bed, or any other type of trailer, call Cowboy State Trailers in Shoshone. 307-409-0396, or you can just stop by their yard at 320 Sagebrush Lane. That's Cowboy State Trailers in Shoshone.
I want lower property taxes for all property owners, so let's talk turkey about taxes. I'm Carla Cayley, and I'm running for county commissioner. As you know, property taxes are calculated by multiplying four numbers together. Two of those numbers are the mill rate and assessed value. You can help control the mill rate by who you elect as your county commissioners and how you vote at the ballot box on anything that adds to the mill rate. We are already paying around 70 mills. That's right, 70 mills. That's a lot. No matter what people tell you, a mill rate dollar value is never fixed. It's not just $50 on your taxes. A $50 value for one mill today could end up being $500 tomorrow. I'm pro-citizen, pro-business, and without compromising essential services, together let's lower taxes. I'm Carla Cayley, and I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. Paid for by the committee to elect Carla Cayley.
It's about 1 billion degrees outside, and you're probably not thinking about your feet, but you probably should. You need a pair of socks from the Buffalo Wool Company. They'll keep your feet cool and dry even on the hottest of Wyoming summer days. Go to their website, thebuffalowoolco.com. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. And now, let's get back to the program. Before the break, I played for you a shocking soundbite from Ogden Driskill. Here it is again.
I've been married 44 years. I'll take the life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one. I mean, it's over that end. And so that's it. This is just a personal end of it.
Maybe it's not a good one. Wow. Now, maybe you think that I'm nitpicking this. I'm not, because of the subject matter and who it is saying it. Let me give you another reason. The first reason is what I told you before, that when you've discussed the topic of abortion as many times as Ogden Driskill has, you know what you should say and what you shouldn't say and what can really get you into a heap of trouble, like this episode. So that's the first reason. But the second one is that if a fetus isn't viable, for instance, if it's an ectopic pregnancy, that's not a question of abortion, because that fetus is never going to grow into a child. It's impossible. And again, Ogden Driskill knows this. So it is entirely fair to criticize this comment. Now, the second part of what he said, if it's not a good one, man, this is so horrendous. I didn't want to start out my week this way. But I'm just going to assume that he's referring to maybe the child is going to have Down syndrome or some other genetic malady. Maybe the child's going to be born with one arm, or maybe they won't have blue eyes, or maybe it's going to be a girl instead of the boy that the parents wanted. Every child deserves to live, and no one on this planet gets to decide whether they live or whether they die. You know, I have some friends, I'm sure many of you do, that have children with some of the same challenges that I can only assume that Ogden Driskill is referring to. And those children are the happiest little people that I probably have ever met. And it absolutely breaks my heart that I live in a world where there are people that believe that those little happy children maybe just weren't a good one.
I'll take the life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one. I mean, it's over that end. And so that's it. This is just a personal end of it.
Like I said, this is a little bit out of order. Now, let me play for you what Ogden started to say, which is only slightly less horrible than the soundbite that I just referred to.
And I unabashedly believe in the exemptions for health of the mother, rape, and incest. And those are between, you can go to different churches, different places. It's just where it falls, and that's where I'm at. I'm flat to it.
It's not a matter of which church you go to. Ogden Driskill is not campaigning to be the Presbyterian minister. But if it is, what Driskill is saying is this really isn't a question of Wyoming law. We shouldn't have any restrictions.
Those are between, you can go to different churches, different places. It's just where it falls, and that's where I'm at. I'm flat to it.
That is exactly the implication of what he was saying. I got to tell you, my friends, when I sat down to record this episode this morning, I was going to cover all of the different topics they discussed during the debate. You know, is business development the proper role of government? No, by the way, it's not. Most of the time, Augie can't go 5 minutes without telling you what he thinks of the Freedom Caucus, so I thought maybe we could address those things. But then I caught these sound bites. And these tell you far more about Ogden Driskill than anything else that was discussed during that debate in Newcastle. And while I'm here, let's discuss those exceptions for just a minute. The first one that Augie mentions is life of the mother. What you and I think of when we hear that phrase is maybe there's some sort of emergency in the delivery room, and the doctor has to choose between the mother and the child. First, that's not a question of abortion. Abortion is an intentional act of killing a child. What that is a question of triage. There's an emergency, and the doctor is going to try to save as many lives as possible. That's not a question of abortion, but that's what you and I think of when we hear the phrase life of the mother. What abortion advocates are referring to is, you know, you're 45, and this might be kind of a high-risk pregnancy, and it might endanger your life. Life of the mother is a completely open-ended exception. What exactly does that mean? Is it spelled out in the law? Are there specifics written in to explain exactly what that is referring to? If Driskill was referring to any other piece of legislation, he would say that it was poorly written, that it needed more work, that it wasn't ready for prime time. But when it comes to a pro-life bill, that's the phrase that Ogden Driskill uses. And it absolutely paves the way for killing babies for reasons of convenience. The other two exceptions that Ogden mentions, rape and incest, are uncomfortable for some people. Not for me, but they are for a lot of people. Well, let me simplify it for you. Name me one other crime where we kill the victim of the crime instead of punishing the perpetrator. Mr. Jones, I'm sorry that your house was broken into. Boys, slap the cuffs on him. It's absurd, and it is entirely backwards from the way our criminal justice system works. But that is exactly the bill of goods that Ogden Driskill is selling. Okay, let's take one more quick break, and when we come back, we'll finish up the show.
A free people require the right to keep and bear arms. I've been proud to sponsor and co-sponsor several gun bills. I'm Mark Jennings, and I'm running for Wyoming State House District 30. I'm endorsed by the NRA and Gun Owners of America. Vote to uphold the Second Amendment. Vote for Mark Jennings on August the 18th. This message was paid for by Mark Jennings for House District 30. I approve of this message, and you should too.
I'm Karen Weber, and I'm running for House District 5 in Goshen County. We need to decrease the size and scope of government. Expenditures have increased 59% under Governor Gordon. We need to decrease residential property taxes because you cannot own your own home if you can be taxed out of it. In terms of the economy, right now, agriculture ranks below the median in the Cowboy State. Agriculture GDP has decreased 22% in the last 7 years, and that is unacceptable. It's very important for Goshen County that we support our agricultural producers. That's what I want to do as your next representative. I ask for your vote on August the 18th. Paid for by Weber for House District 5.
And now, let's finish up the program. We could probably talk for another hour about what Ogden Driskill said of unborn children. I really hope that he didn't mean it, but he said it. He's a politician, and he knows what he says surrounding this topic. Now, I haven't mentioned anything about what Speaker of the House Chip Neiman, Ogden's opponent, has said on this topic. It's pretty easy. Here it is.
I believe that the protection of that is a government responsibility, is to protect life and to provide that opportunity for innocent life to be able to thrive and to flourish and to have the opportunity to live and breathe and enjoy what all of us enjoy. I believe in protection of life from conception, as I said in my opening, to natural death. I know that's a point of contention, and we'll just talk about it, and I'm sure we'll hear some more about it. I believe that all life needs to be protected no matter how it was conceived, because it didn't get to choose how it was conceived, but it is a life that is deserving of protection.
That's a very different view than Ogden Driskill's. Maybe it wasn't a good one. That's so horrible. So the last thing that I'm going to do this morning is play you the whole soundbite of what Ogden Driskill said. That way, you redcoats can't accuse me of taking something out of context. But here's the whole horrible thing that Ogden Driskill said.
Man, I am pro-life, and I unabashedly believe in the exemptions for health of the mother, rape, and incest. And those are between, you can go to different churches, different places. It's just where it falls, and that's where I'm at. I'm flat to it. Looking over here, I didn't recognize my wife of 44 years, soon to be 45, in my entrance speech. Got a couple daughters. When you talk about two lives and choosing lives, well, the way the bills run with no exemptions, here's what happens. If it comes to the life of your wife or a fetus, this legislation chooses the fetus over your life, even if the fetus is flawed. It says you're going to treat it differently. I'm not that way, folks. I've been married 44 years. I'll take the life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one. I mean, it's over that end. And so that's it. It's just a personal end of it.
Augie, that kind of means that you're not pro-life. Actually, I thought I had caught everything that Augie said. But listening to that soundbite again, there's one more little word that he inserted. Here's the section again.
The life of a 20-year-old daughter or granddaughter that is carrying a fetus that probably is not going to be viable or isn't going to be a good one.
Did you hear that? Probably is not going to be viable. It gets worse every time I listen to it. My friends, we don't craft laws with the word probably in it. And if you're the person that believes you can kill a child because it's probably not going to be viable or it may not be a good one, you definitely shouldn't be elected. Ugh, just enough of that. Now, I've posted a link to the YouTube video of this debate over in Newcastle in the show notes of the episode. If you want to go watch it, the link will be available to you. Well, that'll about do it for today's installment of the broadcast. Have a great week, and we'll talk again on Wednesday. But for now, from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics Studio, I'm David Iverson, and this is the one and only Cowboy State Politics.